What's up, you freaking geniuses? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to find which numbers to exclude in the domain in a rational expression, right? So this is pretty straightforward. All you have to do is set the denominator equal to 0. So here we're just going to say x minus 2 is equal to 0. So then solving for x, just add 2's, right? So then here we get that x is equal to positive 2. All right, so for this rational expression, our x values can be any number except positive 2. So we're going to write a little note over here on the side. We'll just put a little comma and then say that x cannot be equal to positive 2. Okay, and the reason for that is because if we do plug in a positive 2 right here for x, we would have 2 minus 2, which is equal to 0, right? So it would make the whole denominator equal 0. And remember, so if we had we would end up with something like 7 over 0. And remember, you can't divide by 0, right? Because that would make this undefined, right? So again, that's why for this rational expression, our domain, our x values can be any number except positive 2. All right, now for this next problem, we have x over x squared minus 25. So again, all we need to do is set the denominator equal to 0. So here we're going to say that x squared minus 25 is equal to 0, all right? Now, there's a couple different ways that we could solve this, but here let's just focus on factoring. So we have x squared minus 25. Now, if you notice something, 25 is a perfect square, right? 25, that's the same thing as 5 squared. So if you rewrite this 25, let's do that actually. Let's say instead we have x squared minus 5 squared is equal to 0. Okay, so as you can see, we have a difference of squares, right? We're subtracting two squared terms. And luckily, there's a formula to factor a difference of two squares. So the formula is a squared minus b squared. You can factor that down to a plus b times a minus b. Okay, so for a and b, you can see that we have x and 5. So if we factor this, it would simply be x plus 5 times x minus 5. All right, and again, that's equal to 0. All right, now to solve for our x's, we just need to set each set of parentheses equal to 0. So first we're going to have x plus 5 is equal to 0, and we're also going to have x minus 5 is equal to 0. All right, so here you can see that x must be equal to negative 5, right, up on top. And for this one down here, it looks like x must be positive 5, right? So x is equal to positive 5. All right, great. So this time we got two answers, positive 5 and negative 5. So up here next to our rational expression, we're just going to write both of those, right? So we're going to say for this rational expression, x cannot be equal to positive 5 and x cannot be equal to negative 5. Boom. Here's the last example that we're going to cover. So we have 9x over x squared plus 3x minus 18. So again, we just want to set the denominator equal to 0. All right, so here we're going to say that x squared plus 3x minus 18 is equal to 0. All right, now in order to factor this, it's just a quadratic. So we can factor this using two sets of parentheses, right? So first of all, x squared, that breaks down into x times x. And then here we need two numbers that multiply to negative 18, but they add up to positive 3. All right, so in this case, that would be a positive 6 and a negative 3, right? Because 6 times negative 3, that's equal to negative 18, but 6 minus 3 is equal to positive 3, all right? So these are our two factors, and again, we're setting those equal to 0. All right, so then the last step, once again, is just setting each of these parentheses equal to 0. So we're going to have x plus 6 is equal to 0, and x minus 3 is equal to 0. All right, so then on this top one, you can see that x must be equal to negative 6, right? So we'll write negative 6 right there. And x must be positive 3 down here, all right? Positive 3. All right, so for our rational expression up here, we're going to say that x cannot be equal to positive 3. And x cannot be equal to negative 6. Boom. So if you found the video helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below.